Hello everyone. Today I will be going through my final year project. This is the second prototype of my game, Rogue Cybercore. I'll be explaining the difference between this prototype and the first prototype. The difference between this concept is that this gameplay only uses a driving functionality. There's no third person mobility. I removed the third person movement slash gameplay due to the limited time available and the increasing tasks left to complete it. Now the player controls a tank in this prototype, which shoots like and can kill enemies, to solve puzzles, and collect scrap metal to upgrade the tank. In the upgrade section, the tank can upgrade the weapon damage, vehicle strength, and the speed, how versatile the player wants the vehicle to be. Now, before I start the game, I will show you what I have done differently in the options panel. As you can see, I've created a music and sound effects slider, which controls the music and any sound effects that are in the game. Now, at the moment, there is no music implemented. That is still a work in progress, but there is sound in this game. So I will go ahead and adjust the sound. Once I'm done, click apply, and then we can start the game. Once we start the game, as you can see on top, these missions are timer based, and the player is now controlling a tank which can move around in any direction. The player can rotate the turret as well as the camera follows the turret rotation at the same time. Now these circling pieces of metal are the scrap metal collectibles that the player can collect in the game. They are placed in different parts of the level where the player will have to find them. Now if we test out the turret on the tank, the turret can shoot in any direction and has a time delay for about a second to make the turret action of the tank more accurate. And the white particles, when the bullet hits a object or a wall, is been implemented, and the player can also drop bombs in the level. Now there is no missile component yet, that's still to be added. And once the timer runs out, then the player will get a UI panel saying game over, but that is still yet to be implemented. So I'll take you through my level and show you what the first level feels like. Now the concept environment is set in a apocalyptic world where the player will have to drive around in a city and navigate the way to the overgrid building, which is in the next upcoming levels. This layout is very, very, very similar to a maze. Along the way, the player will collect clues to solve puzzles, just like this gate that we're approaching at. To get past this gate, the player has to put in a 4-digit code, and the only way to do that is to get the right code, and the player will be left clues around the map on what the code is. So once we're close by, it says enter code. We want to enter a 4-digit number. So we try, and if it's wrong, then we'll get an error saying incorrect pin. So we want to try again. Now you get multiple attempts on this, so there's no like limit. And once we've put in the right code, then we are clear to proceed. And then at this point, the player will be sent to the next level, where the city level continues with much more expansion yet to still be implemented. Now, if I go back to our first level, I will show you the damage system, for the health bar. And once we pass this box, then the player will lose some health. Now, once the player loses all their health, the player will have no control of the tank. The input of the tank controls will be disabled, so the player will have no control, and the vehicle will stop moving and play a particle effect and change model to a destroyed tank. Now we'll reach 0 and the player has no control of the tank and just fell off the map, and now spinning in a cycle, an endless cycle. Now the death panel is still to be implemented, which is almost complete. One last thing I'll show you as well is level 2, which is the next part of the game, where the player has to reach the inside of the overgrid building. And that tall structure all the way at the end is the overgrid building. We have to get past a series of gates. And if we try this gate here, it's still the same pin, but in different levels, in the other levels, the pin for the gates will be different. So it will never be the same pin. And that's when the player has to look for clues to find the correct pin is. Now the gates as well in the map can also prevent the player from reaching a destination, so the player will have to be quick at the same time with the time as there's a timer function. To give you an overview of the first level, there's a lot of building structure in this level, so the player will have to move around quick as well as exploring the entire area as the player picks up clues and collectibles, as well as killing enemies to get past. If the player beats the time completes the level before the time runs out, the player will win, and the progress will be saved in each level after each level's been completed. So to conclude, this is a good example of how a level is structured out, and a lot of twists and turns. The player will have to improvise and look for the best solution for this level. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching this video.